Anaheim, May the 26th, 2022. So let's start at the beginning of the day here at the big Lucasfilm Showcase panel. So I think we're the only ones who didn't see the panel, okay? We did Boon to Eve last night. We were there till really, really late. So let's go down here and speak to Bryn McKinnon, who did go to the panel. Bryn, tell us your thoughts about the big panel, the reveals and such.
Okay, well, I'm probably gonna need help remembering all of the things that they revealed because it was just hitting us from side to side constantly. But the main thing that I've taken away and that I'm remembering is the chills everywhere in my body when the chorus, the choir, came in silently in the dark and started singing. What was the song? What's it called?
Wasn't it Duel of the Fates?
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
Oh my! It was incredible. It was so loud and so beautiful. I was like getting out of my body. And then Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen come onto the stage, and that was just incredible. And the feeling in the room was amazing. And really, that's like the biggest thing that I remember from that experience. Everything else is sort of a blur.
Check the microphone. Sorry, we're gonna check if it's on. Is it on?
It is now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you could recap your recap.
All right. Off too.
So
Okay, so on.
it's been a long day. Someone turned the microphones off for some reason. So you know what? We're gonna begin again. Just
Okay.
give us your thoughts. So if you're just joining us, guess what? We're gonna hear Bryn's thoughts once more. Hey, Bryn McKinnon from Totally Tell Me Everything on the Skywalker Network. So you were at the panel, right?
We're recapping day one.
Yes, we are. We're gonna recap the recap. So go ahead and tell us what you thought about the big panel.
It was amazing. It was so many different things hitting me from side to side, and the main thing I remember is the feeling of absolute like thrill and chills all over my body when the chorus came out silently and we're in the dark and you thought, who is that? And then suddenly there's smoke and they're singing this beautiful Duel of the Fates, and it's so intense, and there's red light, and it was just so exciting. And then Ewan McGregor comes out on the stage, and Hayden Christensen comes out, and they're there, and it's real, and it's really happening, and then my mind just sort of went, and I don't remember anything else. It was just so thrilling.
Oh, I love that.
All
No,
right.
that's great, Bryn.
Okay.
All
Now,
right,
do it
Trisha,
again,
more.
but this time.
More with feeling.
All right. So if you're just tuning in now, we're not going to spoil anything about Obi-Wan. Right now, it's just about Celebration, not
Yes.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, day one
Okay.
celebration.
Trisha Barr, everybody.
You can't remember Harrison Ford?
Oh yes! Oh my God! Thank you. Yes. Oh, it was. Oh my!
You
can
guys, we got John Williams conducting, playing the Obi-Wan theme, and then Harrison Ford walks on stage, and that's where everything stopped for me as far as
It stopped
remembering.
again.
That's my favorite moment of just seeing him again. And he was actually not very, he can be kind of frumpy and and he was very genuine and
Emotional.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
Yeah, and then someone right behind me started singing Happy Birthday, and that's how we got the Happy Birthday to John Williams, because I kept thinking, we need to sing him Happy Birthday. Why hasn't someone started singing him Happy Birthday? So that was perfect.
Yeah,
That was
totally.
3 months ago.
Well,
But,
Whatever.
okay, fine, you know what? It's John Williams.
it's 90.
It could have been 11 months
If
ago.
you make it
We'll
to
still do
90,
it.
you can do it every month.
Every day, I'm gonna call him
every
and
day's a
sing to him
birthday.
every day.
All right, and next, BJ Priester.
So, my sort of favorite memory of the panel was they did Kenobi first, and then Andor, because those are the next two coming out. And then Kathleen Kennedy came on stage in a black cowboy hat and just said, I don't think you need me to say anything else about who I'm bringing out next. And then brought out John and Dave, and then just basically tried to put the hat on his head, and he was like, no, I'll take the hat and put it on my own head, thank you. But that was very fun. And then John and Dave were
Themselves?
they were amped up.
Yeah.
They were both very
John wanted to spoil everything.
yeah, they were very excited to be there. which was fun. And then, speaking of emotional, so one of the things they announced this Mandalorian Experience, where they brought props and things from the set here, and John was visibly emotional, talking about how much it meant to him to get to bring this to the con. Which, I mean, it didn't surprise me because it's kind of a neat experience, but it really meant a lot to him to get to bring that to the fans. So
This is that big exhibit.
It's exhibit that's in the north concourse of the convention center. Started today, apparently, and then for the rest of the con.
Have you seen it yet? Has anyone seen it?
No.
No.
Just like from afar, but I haven't actually gone into seeing it.
Did he say what props were being displayed?
No, just stuff that they packed up from Manhattan Beach and brought here. So props and costumes and
With
sets.
props that they're still using. Yeah, they
Some
said
of
don't
them.
touch. Yeah, don't touch those props
Oh.
because they're still using.
I mean,
them.
if you've been to previous celebrations, they had props and things from the movies. You know, like in last time we were in Anaheim, there was a Force Awakens setup that had Rey's costume and Phasma and a number of these other characters had the costumes on display. So it's, I think, a little maybe bigger than that, but similar idea where they bring movie props to the con.
Okay, great. All right, Courtney and Kelly Turkel.
Of the Neverland Clubhouse.
The one thing that stood out to me was after Ewan and Hayden came on stage, like you could visibly see the emotion in Ewan and how he finally has finally felt the appreciation for the prequels from everybody. Like just
Here, make sure it's on.
oh.
It was off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I
okay.
thought it was on.
Okay. So start with the Ewan.
Oh, okay. One thing that stood out to me was the emotion that Ewan had from seeing everybody finally appreciating the prequels the way they should have been in the very beginning. Him and Hayden back on stage. It was great to see them both. It was a good look at the new kids show, Skeletal Crew, as well. We have a lot of good stuff from Star Wars coming down the next 2 years. For me, everybody was just really happy to be there because of the last 2 years. Everybody was so isolated and they're having to do these TV shows and movies on sets where they can't really hang out with everybody and they just seem so happy to be here and so happy to be sharing it with the fans and sharing it with us and finally getting sneak peeks of things. And I think a moment that does stand out to me is when Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor came out. It was just electric in our room, and our room was actually a streaming room.
Yeah.
We were at the Galaxy stage, we weren't in the Celebration stage, but it was electric in our room, and it was just like everybody just wanted to scream and clap and cheer for them and let them feel the love from like all the rooms that was streaming this panel, even though they weren't there in our room. It was incredible to be in that room. It was like almost like the Disney Plus panel at the last D23. It was just so electric in that room.
So how much of Andor was spoken about from anybody?
Quite a bit. Andor kind of glitched in our room. So it
glitched when they came out on stage.
Yeah, it glitched when they came out on stage. We got a preview of it, and then it was kind of like frozen for a little bit. So I'm not sure what we missed on that.
So were you in the room?
Yeah, Tony Gilroy came out and he almost like spoiled the whole. If you watch the panel, he'll kind of give away the end of the series. But just be warned. And that's so functionally that there's going to be 24 episodes, 12 episodes for the first season, 12 episodes for the second season, and they're going to be going back and filming that second season soon. They're going into that. And Tony Gilroy, who is the person who came on and, really fixed up Rogue One at the end, and we're blessed to have a great screenwriter and director like him to be working on this, so excited for that.
And apparently it was news to Diego Luna that he was going to be back.
Or he made it seem that way.
Yeah, he really did make it seem that way because he was like, I didn't know I had. He's like, I didn't know we were allowed to talk about that.
And right there, his manager saying, "Oh, I didn't send that text, did I? I was supposed to have sent that."
I want to jump ahead actually to piggyback off of Cassie and Andor, the Andor series. We, all three of us, Richard, Dave, and I, because of a 4-day pass snafu, we couldn't get into the opening panel. So our celebration kind of kicked off a little odd, but at the end of the night, like at about 5 p.m., 5:30 on the show floor, we happened to wander over to where the Star Wars live show was happening. And they were like replaying something with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And then after that, all of a sudden the host came on, Andy Gutierrez, and was like, and we have a surprise for you. And what's his name? Diego Luna and
Genevieve
O'Reilly came on stage, and we were pretty close, and we got to watch them do a fun little interview together. And it was really, really cool that, he was right there live on stage, and everyone went nuts. And it was you could just feel their emotion at being there, especially Diego Luna. Oh my gosh. Like, you can just tell he loves Star Wars. And it was funny, all the Spanish speaking fans were like, "Ah," like he was like speaking Spanish. It was really funny. so he did that.
Genevieve was really excited on the panel to come back and explore this character she's been with for so long. And in the teaser, there's a lot of Mon Mothma in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that in the panel, Diego Luna did speak some Spanish, which was like, everybody was really excited about that too. It was really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could understand some of it because I've been doing my Duolingo online every day.
Muy bien.
Yeah. Danke. Gracias. I still do German too. Okay. All right. Well, let's go around because we haven't heard from Dave or Richard yet.
Well, let's talk more about this panel because
okay.
we
Sure.
haven't talked about Ahsoka. Ahsoka, go. Let's hear more about Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Her Montrails are going to be longer.
Oh.
Yeah, Rosario did a little clip, and that was like the first thing that a lot of people noticed was that, there was criticism that they weren't long enough compared to animation, so she was definitely down a little farther with them.
So she wasn't there because she's shooting right now.
She is working today.
Oh, okay. All right. And did they show any kind of clips or behind the scenes, anything?
No, just her. Well,
Where's the mic?
You
I got the mic.
no, she was just in costume and kind of in character a little bit, and you could see the set that she was on behind her, but there was no clip or anything. So she did seem really bummed that she wasn't in the room with us, but she said she'd rather be filming than being in the room because it's going to take longer if she was here day. So she wants to get it out for us as soon as possible.
Which is when?
February 2023.
Oh, bam.
Whoa. Hold on, where's my book? I gotta make another entry. And what about this other Star Wars show, Skeleton Crew?
One thing I think they missed at this panel is they brought out John Watts, who's the director of the Spider-Man movies for Marvel, which is a big hit. But they didn't say, most people don't know that's the director of the Spider-Man movies. He's not recognizable. So they were really excited to talk about the show, thinking they're bringing us the director of the Spider-Man movie. But nobody really reacted because that's not something people would say, oh, I know who that guy is. This is why I should be excited. So that was just an interesting kind of miss, I think, that they didn't say, here's John Watts, the director of the Spider-Man movies.
They do that a lot. They'll say, and here's this person's like, who? They're new to us now. Who are they?
Yes.
Like with the Obi-Wan panel afterward, they brought out all these people. It's like, well, we just saw them for the first time. Tell us, and most of them were in makeup. So tell us who they were.
Yeah.
But hey, what are you gonna do?
And-
So what did they say about this Skeleton Crew?
They wanted to make sure that we knew it wasn't a kids show, even though it stars kids. And the star is Jude Law.
Yeah, that was the big
weird.
draw.
It was really weird.
Wait, what?
It was really weird. It was really weird because they're talking about how it's for kids, but it's not a kid show, or it was the other way around. And then they just said in starring Jude Law. And at first, I think people couldn't understand he said Jude Law because the way he pronounced law didn't sound like law. It was right.
We had to put a picture up.
Yeah. So then they
Jude Law, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Jude Law."
Dumbledore.
Right?
Right, Jude Law in this show about kids or for kids or by kids. We don't know.
It's like making a Harry Potter, but you just can't bring the kids.
Also,
Maybe? So
Also, they said it's Clone Wars-esque, and then
Oh.
Dave Filoni was like, "Really? Because we chopped up a bunch of people in Clone Wars." So how can it be for kids?
Very strange. Very
So
strange.
they sold this whole thing as a Goonies type of 80s meets Star Wars. It sounds like they're pulling back on that now. Did they ever go back to that? Did they ever reference that?
They had one piece of concept art that was up, and that kind of reminiscent to that, but like I didn't get that from the story.
Because in that big Vanity Fair article, that was the big draw. There's going to be one of those 80s type of Star Wars shows that's like Goonies, and like Explorers. Oh my goodness, everyone was reacting to that.
They left much of it a mystery. They didn't give us a whole lot. It was like a sentence.
Oh.
So to build on what Tricia said, I think they assumed everyone in the room knew there was another show coming.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it had been rumored in the internet verse and it was name dropped in the Vanity Fair. But if you didn't know, if you aren't tapped into rumors
Right.
and you didn't read Vanity Fair, you'd have no idea what this
didn't know
was.
either.
I had no idea.
And so
No idea.
they're talking about a show that most people don't know that it's to even know that it's an 80s Goonies show. And then they don't even explain who John Watts is. And then they don't say Jude Law, who you might have seen in Fantastic Beasts
Right.
and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, obviously he's relatively famous, but like,
Yeah, but
it's
still.
not like Harrison Ford, right?
Right.
We don't
Like
have
you
to
didn't
say-
need or Ron Howard.
Or Ron Howard.
Yeah, Ron Howard.
Who's already made a Star Wars
Yes,
movie,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
and so it was very, the whole thing felt like they thought they were talking to an audience that was expecting this. And my vibe that I picked up in the celebration stage was that a lot of people in the room were like, "What is this?" And so it was just it was a missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah. In the Galaxy stage, I think there was a few more people that knew that he was Spider-Man because there was a lot of cheering for him in the Galaxy stage. But again, I think people were a little confused about the Skeleton Crew and what that could possibly mean and what that could possibly be. And the 4 kids and the explanation was kind of like, huh, okay.
Like whoever it was wrote out that press release for today is not the same person who wrote the press release for Vanity Fair, because these are 2 totally different shows.
Yeah, and also they kept looking at John and Dave for like, how much can we say?
Say something.
I can't even remember the other guy. Oh,
His
BJ
name is
knows.
Chris Ford, he was one of the screenwriters on Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh,
And I don't remember if he wrote No Way Home or not, but he's worked with John Watts before, including on Spider-Man. So they're obviously like a creative collaboration team.
Right.
And John Watts did mention that they came in and pitched
to Dave and John,
pitch to Dave and John.
because they were talking about it with Favreau on the set of Spider-Man.
Now, are these Jedi kids?
They did not say.
They did not say. Yeah, and I don't know if people follow the rumors or not, but this was been a pretty recent out there in the rumor mill production, called Grammar Rodeo.
Right.
And people have been they couldn't figure out where it was. They thought it was a High Republic show.
Acolyte. People were expecting Acolyte.
Right. And so this is really new in the kind of the rumor mill, and then they were couldn't really pin down where it was. So this is, I think, a really new show, and obviously John Watts was working on Spider-Man up until recently, and now he's just jumping on board. But I kind of felt that was obvious when all of a sudden he wasn't working at Marvel anymore. That was a couple weeks ago they announced that? Yeah.
Well, now when I hear Skeleton Crew, I think of Stephen King. This is not the best title for a show, so I'm hoping this is. I go back to Grammar Rodeo. Let's call it that.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a very Star Wars title
No.
either. I was expecting something like, give me some Star Wars term that you throw at the wall, and a Skeleton Crew was not it.
But they didn't show any
Exactly what I
pictures.
thought
They
it was
didn't
gonna
show
be.
anything else. So chances are it's not gonna work. It's not gonna stick.
I don't know.
What?
For me, the skeletal crew means like very few people.
Bare bones.
Bare bones, yeah. So
Okay. And did they mention anything about the acolyte?
no.
Oh. Willow, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Willow there.
Speaking of Ron Howard.
That was the weirdest kind of moment in that room. It was, everybody's like, oh no, they're going non-Star Wars. Like you could hear like some people were really excited, but there was also a vibe of kind of like, why are we doing this? And personally, I thought John Kasdan was just weird.
That's who that was?
Yeah, his whole vibe to me was, and I don't know. I don't understand it. We're blaming Alden Ehrenreich for Solo failing, and John Kasdan doesn't take any hit for he's back out there doing another show. But I was excited to see Erin Kellerman back working in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was she there?
Yeah, she's one of the heroines.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was on stage. She
Yes,
came
the
out. Oh.
three and the footage looked really cool. So
Warwick
and-
Davis?
Yes. Yes.
He came out.
Warwick was his classic self.
No, you can.
And Ron Howard was there, and I really wanted to hear a lot more from him actually. And I think John was kind of taking the lead on it, but Ron Howard is amazing.
Opie.
Yeah. So.
Somebody screamed Opie.
Yeah, in ours they also said Richie.
Of course,
Yes,
Richie.
yeah.
Is he just executive producing?
I think so. I don't know. They didn't say, right? But I think it's executive producer.
Which is standby for until the director gets fired and then he'll step in.
Yeah. Ron, don't go far. Don't go far.
Just hang out.
Yeah, so we were on the show floor and we did see. Oh, here you go. We were on the show floor and we did see the trailer for Willow, but only I'm not sure whose idea this was, but they would swing these big giant lights in everyone's faces as we're trying to watch these, blinded by these big spotlights that would wave in your face. So what do we think about the footage for Willow? And what's the full name of the series? Just Willow?
Willow. That's what I saw.
That's confusing.
Yeah.
We got a date for it, didn't we?
Fall?
Fall. I think November 30th. No, something was in November.
But did the footage look promising?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I liked it. I have never seen the first one, so I'm completely in the dark about what it's about. So
That was really funny, Courtney.
Courtney, you are failing as a big sister. Okay. Bryn?
Go ahead.
So it was interesting too. Again, I think they assumed that people knew a lot, but then they also, it's interesting because like as you were saying with Skeleton Crew, they refuse to say anything about the show except it's like 4 kids who get lost in the galaxy and they're trying to find their way home.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was the sentence.
Okay, that was the one sentence. And then for Willow, they're like, okay, so the one character is Mad Mardigan and the lady's daughter, and then her best friend who's a sorceress, and then the other, the maid or something
Yeah.
like
Kitchen
that.
maid.
The kitchen maid who's in love with the brother.
brother.
But
They
first-
didn't even bring out the
and then they didn't
brother.
bring out the brother. And so you're like, okay, that sounds like half the show. Like, I mean, they obviously didn't say anything about the plot. But you bring these 3 young ladies out, and it was funny too because the way she articulated, she made it sound like she was in love with the other girl.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then she was like, no, the brother.
Yes, that was cute.
No, and her brother.
But it was, so again, it was like, okay, so like you're split, and of course it's coming out sooner, so that's part of it. But
And it was part of the Disney Plus panel at D23 2019.
Yes.
So they did announce it already with no context. Yeah. But they didn't really say anything about it until the 3 girls came out, and they came out at the end. And then they kind of gave little tidbits about it, but then that was it.
it was funny too because there's a shot even in the trailer where it's like, okay, so we're doing The Last Jedi again, right? Because it's like Willow has gone off and he's living in exile, and the girl has to go find him and convince him to come back.
Oh,
and teach her
you're making
magic.
this up. You're making this up, BJ. You're making this up. If you know, if you're not going to talk seriously,
No, that's exactly how it happened, and it does look like he's the curmudgeon that's like, I'm not going back. I'm not going on. I'm too old.
And didn't they say that Wilk's daughter plays it?
His daughter, and then his
Yes.
son is his stunt double.
so
wow.
and he's off not on Oct 2 but Oct 1.
Sure.
Or Oct 4.
Oh, okay.
That's
all right.
hilarious.
I
Alright.
tend to think they're pulling our legs. Now, what about Indiana Jones?
Ooh.
All right, what's going on with this? Because I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any. We've been so busy, we haven't heard anything.
Didn't get anything. We
got a date. We got John Williams playing the theme. We got Harrison Ford coming out saying happy birthday to John Williams. And then we got a date. And that was it.
Yeah.
And the date is?
June 30th, 2023.
Yeah.
They brought out, so as John Williams conducts Raiders theme. Harrison comes out. He talks for what? Probably 5 minutes or something,
Yeah.
right? I mean, about
About
John,
John
how
Williams,
great he
yeah.
is and everything. And everyone's cheering.
Yeah.
And then, but also on stage was Kathy Kennedy and James Mangold, who directed the movie, and Frank Marshall, who's produced the other four and is producing this
We
one.
hardly saw them.
And literally all Frank Marshall and James Mangold said the entire time they're on stage was "Happy Birthday, John."
yeah. Yeah.
They didn't even. I mean, Kathy acknowledged James Mangold as the director,
Yes.
but he literally did not speak a single word about his movie. That Harrison did all the talking, and then they said "Happy Birthday, John," and then they left.
And Kathleen had to remind him to save the date.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, Harrison, save the date. And he's like, what? No, save the date.
Well, some people just aren't public speakers.
Yeah, no.
Okay, clearly
Well, I
he's one of them.
Really emotional. Like,
He
that's when
was,
he was
yeah.
like crying after he said all these great things about John Williams. And I could literally see the tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
It was so emotional.
I gotta watch that live stream back.
Trailer? Did we get a trailer?
No.
In a poster.
No, I have a question. So is John Williams doing the music for Indiana Jones 5? He is, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Wow. Yay. I'm excited. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, questions. Like, is Paramount? Is this one of these Disney, Sony things with Spider-Man, and so now Disney and Paramount?
Paramount only owns the distribution rights to
Right.
Indiana Jones,
Right.
and to the ones that were previously made. So that's why the indie movies are on Paramount Plus and not on Disney Plus, because Paramount has the rights, but they don't have the rights to the future movies, and they don't have any. They can't prevent Lucas from doing, if they want to do more novels or comic books or something like that. They could do that. Lucasfilm owns all the IP.
Okay.
But Paramount owns the distribution, which is different than Sony, because Sony actually owns the rights
Right.
to make Spider-Man movies
Right.
and associated characters like Venom.
Right. Okay.
And Morbius.
Except they're putting that IP in a box,
Yeah.
apparently.
I want to say it's interesting. Kathy Kennedy, the last time she appeared on stage, said the last Indiana Jones movie.
Oh.
And Harrison today said the next Indiana Jones movie,
Ah.
which I thought may or may not be intentional.
So maybe one of these, the last with Harrison, but
Yeah.
not the last Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, well, that interview that she did in Vanity Fair really implied that there's only Harrison is Indiana Jones, and
There's so many holes in that article.
But I think, well, and it was done in March.
Yeah.
I think there's some people that might express different opinions on that, and even Mark Hamill says he thought someone else would be playing him by now.
Right.
Yeah, but Harrison did say, as long as he was alive, he was going to play Indy. He did say that at one point, but I think he is getting a little old. I mean, even on stage, he's a little slower than he used to be, even with speaking and stuff like that. So I don't know how much longer he can play Indiana Jones.
Well, just
Even
like
though
in-
I want him to.
It's like in the TV series, he played Indiana Jones and he sat in a chair. So you can be that kind of Indiana Jones. And let me tell you, kids, about a time when I saved an ark.
Well, I also think they have to decide whether Indiana Jones is a character or Indiana Jones is a franchise. Because you can, I mean, you've got Rey Skywalker now, right? And you could do more Star Wars movies, even Skywalker saga movies with Rey if you wanted to. So, I mean, we don't know, but there's been speculation, for example, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character in this new movie could be the Pass the Torch character, since they're obviously not using Shia LaBeouf again.
Right.
So, but can you release a movie starring Phoebe Waller-Bridge called Indiana Jones something that Harrison's not in, right?
Yeah, they tried to do it with Bond. In the last Bond, originally, the woman did take on the 007, and then he came back out of retirement and took it back. So, they could do something like that, where somebody takes it over.
Right. It's like Planet of the Apes. Charlton Heston was in 3 minutes of the second film, but it was a Charlton Heston film, but he was hardly ever in it. So I think it's gonna be something like that. All right. Anything else that revealed about this?
No, I just remembered something about Andor, and I think it was Diego Luna was talking about how Rogue One was normal people making a difference. I really liked what he said about that. That it had nothing to do with the Force. It had nothing. It was just people doing what they could and kind of being their best selves. I thought that was cool.
He also said that we're gonna see a different Andor.
Oh.
Yeah, he's gonna be more selfish. Like, he's not gonna be reaching the point he was in Rogue One yet.
Okay, because his character has to grow.
He said we may not like him at first.
Well, we didn't really like him. We didn't like him in Rogue One because one of the first things he does is shoot someone in the back.
Yeah.
So that was a whole different kind. Yeah, he said that when he was on stage with Genevieve O'Reilly that this is going to be a very early rendition of Cassian before he gets to the rebellion and how he grew up in this war-torn state. So I'm really looking forward to that. And boy, Diego, I've never seen anyone look so happy in my life. He was just bouncing all over that couch like Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
he was.
Except Jimmy Smits tonight.
He was. Is it me or was he doing jumping jacks on stage? Yes, he was.
He was trying to get the crowd more hyped up.
Yeah. How can we be any more hyped?
Yeah.
All right, so we won't talk about Obi-Wan right now.
Not yet.
No.
We want to go around. I want to go around and see, just get flavors of the convention that we all experience. So is there something that really stood out to you? And we're going to have Bryn, you go first, right? Is that okay? Yeah.
What really stood out to me?
Yeah. Or should I go first?
You
I have
should.
something in
Yes,
mind.
if you have something in mind, that would be excellent.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. So I'm going to say that I was able to make it to David Collins doing the music of Attack of the Clones panel. And I was really excited. BJ also was there with me. And, well, beyond there, 8 minutes in, the fire alarm went off. So that was fun. So please, everyone, stand up and leave in an orderly fashion. And luckily, it didn't turn out to be an emergency. And so we got back in the room about 15 minutes later and we resumed the panel. So David Collins does the soundtrack show and he does all this music analysis, which I love. And we've done on Skywalking Through Neverland sometimes. So what I loved about it is he went in and dissected Across the Stars, which is the song that I walked down the aisle to when Richard and I got married. And so he played it in the room, and of course I'm getting my chills again, just like walking down the aisle is really cool. By the way, this is Padme's wedding dress here too. But so one of the things he proceeded to analyze it amazingly until he got to this one truth bomb, which I'm not going to explain, but I'm just going to say the quote, which is, Across the Stars is made up of Luke and Leia. Leia is the melody, Luke is the rhythm. And everyone in the room was like, whoa, and they started clapping. It was amazing. But he had just explained why, and so it was like this truth bomb. It was awesome. So I just thought that was a really cool moment, and I wanted to share. Anybody else? Dave?
Well, I'll start by my memories of the whole first opening thing that everybody else has talked about that we didn't get to talk about because we weren't there. But my first memory is of Bryn talking about it and sharing her experience of the opening ceremony with the music, but then she forgot to turn on her mic. And so that we got to hear it over again, which was really, really kind of neat, seeing her perfect her memory. And then following by, well, no, this is my memory.
I didn't forget to turn on the mic. I was standing
I
up
disagree
all-
with that.
No, I'm supposed to disagree.
I didn't interrupt you guys, this is my memory. And then I got to go to Trisha, who reminded Brenda that she forgot about Harrison Ford. And then we just kind of unfolded from there, and it exploded, which was very sentimental and moving for me until everybody jumped down my throat right now. No, because we missed it, we got to spend most of our time hanging out on the floor, seeing all the costumes, seeing all the stuff people were selling, and just taking in the whole ambiance. Of course, the big thing was the whole big Skywalking Through Neverland panel of hearing about fandom through the generations, and me relating more to the old timers instead of these young punk kids and their new
You young kids.
Yeah, their new youngster stuff, which was really fun. Pretty much, and of course all the fun adventures of getting Sarah her pass at the beginning of the day.
So now tell us about this Fandom Through the Generations panel.
Oh, it was amazing. It was hosted by, oh God, what was that guy's name? Wolosky, Richard Wolosky. And
You know what, when you do a panel and when you see a panel are two totally different things. So since we did the panel, we didn't watch it. So how did it go? Because we were so in the zone of making sure all of our points were expressed, and we made sure everyone got enough talking points between Craig Miller and Dan Madsen and Matt Martin. So did you learn something from that? And on a scale of 1 to like 1 billion, what was it?
I'm gonna have to go with 1,000,000,003.
Oh.
1,000,003.7.
Normally I'd say mic drop, but don't drop the mic.
I don't want to drop the mic because you might need it for the next time. But no, it was good. It was tight. It was you balanced your three panelists out, so everybody got a chance to have their moment in the sun and share their stories. The room was about 2/3 full, which it was a big room, so that is impressive because I've been to some of these panels where it's like, oh look, there's another chair up on the stage for me to sit down and watch. And this wasn't that. You had a good turnout. People seemed into it. People were interested. You had all your old video that you've archived all your life that you should write a book about. No, it was good. It was interesting, and people were into it.
Cool.
And now I'm going to drop this mic.
No.
Should we go around?
All right, now let's pass the mic down.
Let's go to Bryn.
Where's the other one? Oh, the other one's over there.
Make sure it's turned on, Bryn.
It should be.
Help.
Eh,
Did you turn it off?
It's on.
No. Oh.
there you go.
Okay. So, one of the only other panels I went to, other than your panel and the Lucasfilm panel, was the what's it called? Ahsoka. Shoot.
That was the fan panel.
Ahsoka Tano, the purest example of what the Jedi should be. And Anne Convery was in it, and 3 other people who were very good.
And Anne Convery is Dave Filoni's wife.
Right. And it was so wonderful to get to spend the whole hour with them. They showed multiple clips from the show. Each panelist got to choose a clip to play, and then they talked about it. And just to hear people speaking on such a high level about Ahsoka as a character, Ahsoka as a Jedi, as a not Jedi, as a what is she, and hearing from Anne, because she's so close to Dave, because she's been married to him for 21 years or whatever, that was fascinating to get her, just her insights in it, and also because she's an author, so she's just wonderful. And that was today was all about Ahsoka for me, and it was really cool.
Even your outfit.
I dressed as Ahsoka. Well, not as Ahsoka. I guess it's a bound.
It's your bound. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Were you in that one?
Yeah.
You were? Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Anne's she is a storyteller and teaches about writing, so it's not like she knows this. And I think for people who followed it enough, you know that Dave always would say, my wife would talk to me about this point and try to make Ahsoka a stronger character and try to rise above tropes about female characters and that kind of stuff. The host was Ryder Waldron, and the other two panelists were Becca Benjamin and Mark Sutter, who I just did an episode of their podcast.
Oh, cool.
So, and they have a literature books, Star Wars books podcast.
Tarkin's Top Shelf,
Yes,
right?
that's it. Thank you. It wasn't coming to my brain. But yeah, it was a really good structure to the panel to show the clips and then invite a conversation about it. I did live tweet some of their funny things. They asked why people want Ahsoka to keep getting stories told, and Anne said because she had a mortgage, but she was joking. That got the big laugh in the room.
Yeah.
But they really did. All of them brought some really fantastic things to it. I will do a write-up on that on Fangirl Blog, because I just thought there was a lot of things that they made the right point. And one of them was a conversation about, do you like the pairing of Ahsoka and Rex or Ahsoka and Anakin?
Better. Which one?
Which one better? And surprisingly, no one voted for Anakin and Ahsoka.
Really?
Yeah, all the panelists picked Ahsoka and Rex, which I thought was interesting. But they did make the point that Ahsoka wouldn't be the person she was, and she wouldn't have survived if she hadn't had the unorthodox training that Anakin had given her. So he's still important to her. But it was just a really fascinating conversation to think about it. And you could tell she said, David said, oh, I could show you some stuff. And she's like, no, don't show me stuff, because I got to talk about it. And, for him, he can do secrets, but she's not so good.
Nice. All right, any other? Oh, you have
I'm
to go?
gonna take off.
All right.
Okay.
Everyone say bye, Bryn. Bye, Bryn.
All right, with that, I think we should wrap up day one. Thanks,
Oh.
Bryn.
Sorry.
Before we get into our Obi-Wan Kenobi discussion, which we won't live stream because lots of spoilers.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye, Bryn. Everyone say bye to Bryn.
Bye, Bryn. All right. Okay, so we are gonna wrap up. So say bye, bye to the live stream.
Bye, live stream. Bye. Bye, guys.
Celebration day one, mic drop.